listening to the Dr. No Show on WHIT Radio.org.
Good morning, everyone. It's the Morning Buzz with Mr. P, and I'm Brandon Barris. And today we have a special guest, Juan Rosario, and he's actually our first special guest for of the year. And today we're having our all-sports show here on the Morning Buzz. So if you're watching TV or you're listening to music, you need to stop everything you're doing and tune in right now to the Morning Buzz. Well, today, unfortunately, is going to be my last show. So I just want to take a quick moment here to thank Mr. P for everything he's done this year for me and all the shows he's done with me this year. So thank you so much, Mr. P.
It's been my pleasure, really, Brandon. Sorry to see you going, but I hope to be back next year, next September, and I hope we can continue the Morning Buzz.
Right. Well, you're gonna need to keep it locked here on the Morning Buzz, because coming up here, we're gonna talk about the Celtics and Heat game that came down to the wire, and also predictions for the Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals between the Spurs and Thunder. And, of course, you cannot forget about the Devils needing nothing but a win tonight. But first, yesterday the Mets were in action against the Washington Nationals, and they had to go to 12 innings to get a winner. Unfortunately for the Metropolitans, they were on the losing side of this, as the Nationals take this one 7-6. The Mets are hoping to get back on track tonight against the Nats at 7:05. Jeremy Hefner on the mound for the Mets, and Edwin Jackson on the hill for the Nats. And Mr. P, since this is the last time I'm going to be reporting on the New York Mets, if they keep on with this good record until the All-Star break, I think they potentially have a chance to make it to the playoffs. I honestly do.
Well, they do, but I mean, they need relief pitching. Again, the game was blown in the last couple of innings. They had leads couple of times, and the relief pitching couldn't hold it, and the defense let them down. So, you know, I think they're much better than anybody expected. So that's a plus.
Oh yeah, definitely. With the all these announcers and all these predictions at the beginning of the season, they had the Mets at last place. Well, guess what? Look where they are now. So Juan, are you a Mets fan or a Yankees fan? Which one do you prefer? Which team?
Huge Mets fans.
Huge Mets fans?
In 1986.
That's good. So you're on our side here. You're on our side. You want the Mets to make the playoffs. Am I right?
Yeah, but it's funny that you talk about what they might do after the All-Star break, because if you look back, typically, it's after the All-Star break that they seem to have their collapse. So it's not going to be till midway through, midway after the halfway break or so that you can actually see where they're going.
Right, and that's gonna be the interesting thing to see, because as you said, the Mets tend to fall during the after the All-Star break, and you know what? If this year they can maintain what they're doing now after the All-Star break, that would be absolutely amazing, because then I really think that the Mets are the real deal, and they're doing it without any All-Stars. If you look at their team, they're basically all from the minors. Terry Collins is doing an absolutely wonderful job with them.
David Wright. David Wright's an all-star.
David Wright, that's the only one as of right now, with Jason Bay out, and God knows where he went.
No, Jason Bay's not an all-star anymore.
Not anymore, right? Exactly. I think he was with his time with the Boston Red Sox, he was good, and also with the Pirates, he was fantastic. But I don't know what happened when he came to the Mets.
And they have to do something with Ike Davis. I mean, the guy's batting 160, 0 for 4 last night.
Right,
and you can't keep on playing him. I know he wants to give him confidence and doesn't want to show him that he's lost confidence in him, but the guy is just hopeless, clueless up there.
Right, and I know a bunch of people that blame it on his swing, but if you look at it, last year he had the same exact swing and he hit wonderfully. He hit perfect.
It's confidence.
So I think the hitting coach and the coaching staff really needs to boost up his confidence and kind of get him to the point where he was last year.
I don't know how much longer they can go with him. I mean, I don't know. He's supposed to be a power hitter, first baseman. You can't go indefinitely with a guy hitting 160 and looking like lost at the plate for such a long time now. We're going on 3 months, so I don't know.
The good thing is that they don't actually need a group of all-stars, because we remember what the Yankees did in the mid-'90s. That was a farm group that came up and did what they did there. So there's a lot of hope. Yeah. But at this point, you got to wonder whether it's not a mental issue that after the All-Star break, what happens to this ball club? So we just got to wait and see. I personally don't have my hopes up, but I didn't expect a no-hitter either.
Right.
No.
I don't think anybody expected a no-hitter.
No.
Right,
Did you see the game?
Unfortunately, no, because it's one of those things where I ignore them until something good happens, and then by the time I found out about this, obviously it's too late. It's the last thing that you expected.
Right,
It's never been done before with the Mets, so it was a spectacular thing.
Yeah.
But anybody that knows me knows that I'm a Met fan, so I was absolutely able to relish it and enjoy it.
It was
Right,
exciting.
exactly.
It really was. I caught the game from about the third inning on, and hey, by the 6th or 7th inning, I was really into it, and then by the end of the game, I was ecstatic. So.
Right.
First
Yeah, I
no-hitter.
caught the game on the Mets Encore. I don't know if that
Okay.
counts, but
No,
I saw
it
the
doesn't.
game.
It's pretty good.
The Yankees won yesterday 7-0 against the
Right.
Rays. Andy Pettitte getting the win. He's now 3-2.
Okay.
Tonight, Ivan Nova on the mound for the Yanks at 7:05, and he'll face off against Alex Cobb. Now, today is the biggest game of the New Jersey Devils player's life, because if you don't win today, the Kings will have swept them for zip. And from my point of view, that will be a complete Devils embarrassment. The Devils need to come out today with an absolutely perfect performance to beat the Kings at home tonight, who are just dominating the whole series. And you know what? Listen, if the Devils need a little bit of motivation, Modell's is selling your Stanley Cup jerseys for 50% off. So if you need a little bit of motivation, there you go.
There you go.
But, honestly, guys, I really don't see the Devils beating the Kings tonight at home. I just don't see it happening.
I don't either.
It's going to be absolutely tough for the Devils to go into the Kings' house, beat them, having gone down 3-0, and then come and beat them, just for this game. I don't see it happening. I think the Kings will probably take this, and you know what? How the Devils react to it, who knows?
I don't.
I don't
Well, I'm a Ranger fan myself, so.
Yeah.
You're a Ranger fan. I'm a Ranger fan too. But I kind of still want the Devils to win just to represent.
At least
on
one.
this area. Right, exactly.
Figure that a local team should win at least one. And I'm contrary to that. I actually don't see that not happening. I'm pretty sure they'll get away with at least one win. I think everybody expects at least one win. Even at this point, staging point in the game, they'd expect at least one win from this team tonight.
They should have won at least one at home. I mean, 2 overtime losses. That was really devastating.
Right. Well, yeah, there's been a lot of expectations this
Yeah.
year with, the Rangers' #1 seed didn't make it to the Stanley Cup.
Right.
What makes you think that, the Devils are going to win a game? But,
Right.
We'll see. Hopefully the Devils can win a game so it's not an embarrassment for them, because to me it will be if they go down 4-0. But tonight, the 2012 NBA playoffs, which is always exciting and definitely showed it yesterday as the Heat went down in a down-to-the-wire game. The Celtics taking Game 5, 94-90. And the Celtics must be absolutely thrilled that they won that game, because Game 5, now they go back home. And Game 6, they go back home and possibly could have a seat in the finals.
Yeah. They're in control of the series right now. Don't count Miami out. They got a great team now that Bosch is back. They might put up more of a fight. I know he just kind of played about 17 minutes last night, but if he can improve, they still got a shot. But I like Boston's team overall better than Miami's. I think they're deeper.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, for the Heat to beat the Celtics, I think they're going to need Bosch to play more than 14 minutes.
Yeah.
They're going to absolutely need him to play more than that because, I know they have 2 All-Stars with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, but you need that third one.
It's not enough.
Right, exactly. It is not enough. And with the Celtics, you have four players that are really good. Rajon Rondo,
Plus
Paul
a good
Pierce,
bench. Plus
Kevin
a good
Garnett,
bench. Have a nice
and Ray
bench.
Allen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Once again, I'm a Knicks fan, and it's funny because whether you're talking about the rivalry between the Rangers and the Devils, you're also talking about another rivalry with the Knicks and the Heat. So you're torn because I kind of like the Heat, but at the same time, my teams can't seem to get past these rival teams.
Right. See, the problem with liking teams like the Heat is they're so, they have so many players that are all-stars. They have this budget that's skyrocketed, and to like teams that are basically an all-star team, it's not fun. I like teams that are like the underdog that come up from nothing and win everything. That's what I like. But, as you said, as being Knicks fan, of course you're going to be torn between the Celtics and Heat because you're both rivals with them.
All right.
So
Let me ask Juan a question. Do you think the way the Knicks are constituted now, they can win a championship, or do they need some other player or a trade or anything along those lines?
The problem with the Knicks, in my opinion, is the same thing as with the Mets. Same thing. When you take a team like the Mets and the Atlanta Braves, there's something about the chemistry when these two teams meet. It's the same thing with the Knicks. There's a chemistry problem. I think they've always had the ability to go out there and do great things, but when they're on the court against certain teams and against important teams, important games that mean things, something just happens with the chemistry of the team where they just seem to falter at the very end. And fortunately for us Giants fans, we don't have a problem with that because the Jets also have that same problem. It's chemistry. There's no reason why the Jets shouldn't have been in the past the championship game several times over the last decade.
You think they have the talent?
They've had talent in the past. They certainly have the talent now. But whether you're talking about the Mets, the Jets, these are just teams that when they meet other teams that they should dominate and destroy on the field, something happens with the chemistry. And that's what happened with this ball club here. In my opinion, it's a chemistry problem. And
they just don't seem to play well together.
Right. They had excellent chemistry with John Stark, Patrick Ewing, Charles
Oakley.
The problem with that team back then was a young man in Chicago, which was destroying dreams everywhere.
Michael Jordan.
If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, the Knicks would have won multiple championships. But prior to that ball club and after that ball club, it's a chemistry problem.
Right, and I think, the player that brought the chemistry back to the Knicks is Jeremy Lin. And for that short amount of time, if you saw how he played with Landry Fields, with Tyson Chandler, with Steve Novak, he brought those players to a high level, a different level than they ever been.
For a while.
Exactly, for a while.
Until the league caught up with them.
Exactly, right, exactly.
He made it exciting again.
Right.
He made it exciting again.
They made it exciting, but the league caught up to him and they put a hurt on him.
Right.
And they made him pay for every drive to the basket, and he couldn't hold up.
Right.
Physically, he couldn't hold up. So.
But that's how the NBA is.
Yeah.
You're not going to get to the basket untouched.
Yeah. They really put a hurt on him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And we talked about this all year, Brandon. We just didn't like Carmelo Anthony is a talent, but when he's the only scoring option, everybody else stands around and looks at him shoot.
Right.
And that's not good basketball. It really isn't.
It's not. You lose one man and then what?
Listen, if you're going to stand and watch, why stand? Just sit down on the bench.
Right.
Why waste your energy? You might as well let him have the ball. But Game 6 between the Thunder and Spurs kicks off tonight at 9 o'clock. Tonight, the Thunder have a chance to also write themselves a one-way ticket to the finals, having leading the series 3-2. I think if there's a must-win game from the Thunder tonight, it's tonight because they're home, because they have a crowd around them. Just to finish it off here. Don't take your chances back to San Antonio. Just finish it off here. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Thunder to write themselves a one-way ticket to the finals.
I think we talked about this yesterday. If they don't win tonight, then they have to go back to San Antonio, and the momentum will shift. Right. And San Antonio has the edge. Right now, they have the edge. They have the momentum. They're at home. It looks good for them to win the division tonight. But San Antonio's a tough team.
Right, they absolutely are. And as much as it hurts me to bring this up, since you guys are Giants fans, can you please inform all the WHIT radio listeners what is the state of the Giants of this moment between transactions, predictions, and hopefuls, I guess, for the next year?
Well, I think that for the most part, what I like is that the team we didn't lose anybody that Reese didn't want us to lose. One thing I learned about the method to his madness is that if he lets a player go, he knows what he's doing. And last year I would have been concerned about the possibility of losing Umenyiora, but this year what I understood is that he knows what he's doing, and so I think it's a plus that that he kept him in that. If he let him go, it meant that the ball club was going to be okay. The fact that he managed to keep him, and Umenyiora seems to be very happy, keeps the defense intact. We didn't lose any coaches. Everything seems to be primed for another run. These guys, I think they can actually make another run and do it. They're all healthy. There are no major injuries.
Except Hakeem Nicks.
But he's vowing to come
Yeah,
back, and
yeah.
I believe him. I don't think he's saying that he's going to do it and then he won't do it. And even if he doesn't do it, maybe he'll miss the first 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
And we've got Cruz. So again, the guys that we let go, Jacobs, for example, I'm not as worried about it as I would have been a year ago. I think
They
that,
got Wilson, right? The rookie first-round draft pick, and they said he looked good in minicamp. So he's got explosive speed, and he
I've
should be a
told
good
Brandon
addition.
before that the Giants aren't built for back-to-back Super Bowls.
Right.
They haven't done that yet. So again, we can't be shocked and devastated and surprised if things don't work out the way we want. But I got a better feeling about this particular ball club than other times, because after each other championship, we've lost key players and we lost key coaches. We have everything we need to make another run. I'm upbeat about it this year.
The only issue is a big one, is that the schedule is brutal. If you look at the opponents that they have to play, it's just one great team after another, and a lot of night games, a lot of Monday night games, Sunday night games, so it's not an easy schedule. I think there's a 6-game run where they played New Orleans, San Francisco, Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots. I mean, they've got like everybody in a row.
Fortunately, 2 of those teams you just mentioned, we seem to have that number. You talk about chemistry. I think at this point, with this Dallas team, it's a chemistry problem for Dallas.
We seem to have that number.
Yeah, we can punch that clock just about every time. And New England, I think there is absolutely no more fear. It's like when Mike Tyson lost his first fight.
I think
it
it's
just seemed everybody was willing to take a shot and get hit.
Right.
And right now, I think the league is no longer afraid of New England, and I think we're going to see that, and that's going to help us as well when we get back in there, watching them get clobbered a time or two as well. So we're in pretty good shape.
They've lost their invincibility.
They have. They've lost their invincibility. They really have.
I think with the Patriots having lost the second Super Bowl to the Giants, it's become a mental problem. It's in their head. So whenever they're gonna go play the Giants, they're gonna think to themselves, you know what, they have our number. What are we gonna do about it? They're gonna go out to every game. Half of their mind's gonna be in fear, and half of them's gonna be too overwhelmed that they're gonna start messing up.
Right.
So I think the Patriots really need to get their heads screwed on straight, and they need to really buckle down. Work hard in training camp, and I think that the Patriots, as Juan said, the Giants really aren't, built for back-to-back Super Bowls. I think the Patriots are. I think they have the coach for it. I think they have the players for it, and I think they absolutely can go back to the Super Bowl this year.
They have a good team. I mean, I was going to bring this up. The Giants actually did not have a great season. They were 9-7.
That's right.
They had to beat the Jets. They had to beat the Cowboys. They had to beat the Falcons. They had to beat 49ers, Green Bay, New England. They had to run off 6 games to win the Super Bowl. Right. They had a very uphill road, but they did it. And,
and you look at what they accomplished on the way. If I'm not mistaken, they're the only 9-7 team that's actually won a Super Bowl.
Right.
They had to overcome so much.
Right.
At the end, the run they made at the end, they just gelled in a way that I haven't seen another team gel, and so quickly. In just a couple of games after the Jet victory, things really seem to turn around.
Gelled, right.
And I'm looking for Pierre-Paul. This is going to be really exciting to watch him play his second year. When you look at him and Tuck and Umenyiora, and a happy Umenyiora at that, I think this defense is going to be a monster defense. I genuinely think we're going to see things this particular year.
Kiwanuka is also.
Yeah, I think we're going to see things this year that's going to actually make last year look like they were learning stuff.
And I'm glad they got Chase Blackburn back. I know
I wasn't aware of that. I actually was not aware of that.
Yeah, he came in at the end of the year, and he was a big reason why the Giants did so well.
But is he signed?
Yeah, he
for
signed
this year?
for this year.
He
Yeah,
signed
he
for this
signed
year.
for
I
this
wasn't
year.
aware of that.
He took, I think, a minimum salary, and I really think he solidified the defense. They didn't not have a captain linebacker. They tried a couple of people, it didn't work. And when he came in, I think with about 3 games left in the season, things changed.
Yeah,
I
and
think
he's a
was
cheerleader also.
Yeah,
He knows how to motivate his
Yeah.
people. And that humongous play that he did at the end,
Oh,
had he not been signed again,
yeah.
and had it not been signed by any other team, he would have pretty much solidified his place in the football
Oh,
with
yeah.
that one catch. Because
Sure.
I think that's going to be a highlight that
That's
you're
a
going to
highlight.
see in the future.
Yeah.
And so it pretty much immortalized himself with that catch at the end there.
He did.
Right, Mr. P, you said he signed to a minimum salary, right?
Yeah, minimum, whatever the minimum was for a veteran, he signed for that. They didn't. I didn't think, and all the analysts didn't think that they could get him for that amount. But obviously, he signed. He wasn't doing anything when they brought him back. I think he was going to become a teacher or something. He was just sitting
either
home.
that or a carpentry. He was
carpent-
in the middle of doing something. You're right. They
Right.
interrupt. He got a phone call. He might have
Yeah.
been teaching and he got
Yeah,
a
yeah,
phone
yeah.
call or something like that.
Yeah. So.
But again, this goes to Jerry Reese's genius.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about what this man is doing. He is an unsung hero in this ball club.
Well, now we not going to second out his moves anymore.
No.
I mean, I was a little. I was very concerned in the beginning of last year. They lost Steve Smith. They lost Kevin Boss and a few others. And I just said, "Oh, what's going on here? You know, does he really know what he's doing?
Right.
Losing these players?" But turned out to be the right move.
Right.
You know, so he knows what he's doing.
Right, exactly. And, just to bring up something real quick, as you said before, that he was signed to a minimum salary.
Yeah.
There's 2 other players that also were signed to lower their salary, was Eli Manning and Osi
Yeah.
Umenyiora. They both
Right.
signed to lower the budget of the Giants, and that's something that you really don't see that much with big players.
Eli did that. Osi got a raise.
Oh, he did get a
Osi,
raise, he
Yeah,
did?
he got a couple $1 million raise.
He
you know.
didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah.
But I think he's ecstatic.
Right.
Yeah.
And
He-
you look at that smile that he had yesterday
Yeah.
on the back
Yeah.
of the paper. There was $1 million smile there.
Yeah.
So he's up to $7 million.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's not bad, and that in itself is a risk for the Giants in that he's been injured lately,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
there's no telling if he's going to be able to finish
Right.
the season once he gets started. And so they're looking at a year by year basis with him. And so the fact
But
that
he
that's $7
deserved
million,
it.
I think he does. I
He
think he really
deserved
does.
that raise, I'm sure. But looking forward to the season.
Can barely
And
wait.
they could be primed for another run. All the horses are in place. They lost Brandon Jacobs. They lost Mario Manningham, but they've been replaced by draft picks and signings. And they signed this guy Bennett from Dallas. He's the backup tight end. Came in at 290 pounds. I don't think the Giants wanted him at 290, but he seemed to be all muscle. And so some great things ahead, I think.
Right. Well, it's been a great day here on WHIT Radio. Unfortunately, it's been a pretty sad day for me. It's going to be my last day here on WHIT Radio till September. Hopefully, I can come back here better than ever, better than I was this year, and provide new stories for you.
Well, it was
every
great.
day.
You were really very motivated student, and you improved a lot during the year. And it's been really a pleasure doing these shows. And I want to thank Juan Rosario for being on with us today. And
I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here.
hopefully next year, same time, same place. Brandon will be back, and we hope to have Juan a few more times talking about sports and current events. So,
All right, so keep it locked here on the one and only WHITradio.org.
You're listening to the Dr. No Show on WHITradio.org.